Hi, today is Thursday, August 18th, 2018. Good night to our viewers and pet members. Welcome to Frontline. My name is Janice Learmond, Criqui, and I am the Public Relations Officer for the Progressive Empowerment Party. Tonight, I have as my co-host our acting political leader, Felicia Holder, and on my right, I have Christoph Samlal of the Progressive Empowerment Party.
Unite viewers.
Yes. You would remember Christoph as he was the member for, he was going up for the local government elections to represent Barataria. And he did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Because of what we've been having this week, which is a lot of rain and a lot of flooding, we want to touch on that subject tonight. And before we get started, I just want to bring a few situations to the forefront a little bit. If we were to go back in time, there was a day called Black Tuesday, November 13th, 1979. This was a flood that affected Upper Cascade. It is alleged that the Town and Country Division, WASA, and the Drainage Division, who approved the plans for development in Upper Cascade, are accountable for the damage that was done to the area. The previous day, which would have been November the 12th, there had been a deluge of hills above Belmont. Flash floodwaters swept tons of silt, gravel, garbage, and logs down the valley to flood homes, wreck roads and bridges. The Belmont Road disaster was front page news on November 13th. Complacent Cascade residents thanked God that flood hadn't affected their valley. But by Tuesday midday, the skies were black with rain clouds. The heavens opened and Cascade got a taste of what Belmont had suffered the day before. So now let us fast forward a bit to the disasters of October 5th, 1993, and the St. Anne's Cascade flood that took 5 lives and swept away modest homes perched precariously on the riverbank. One might think 2 disasters, albeit 14 years apart, would be sufficient to warn the Town and Country, WASA, and the Drainage Division, and whatever other authority has, in principle if not in practice, the power to prevent development, squatting and upmarket townhouses with spectacular views, to enforce litter laws and keep drains and watercourses clear. 4 years without serious major flooding. There was a major flood in Caroni in 1998. Again, where you had the Drainage Division, and of course developers, squatters, gardeners, and dumpers in a sort of like a false sense of security. But then no one with power to do so checked with this unsustainable development. It was no surprise to those who understood the forces of nature when the floods returned in full force on August 27th, 2005. 1 day shy of the anniversary of the devastating 2012 floods in Diego Martin, flash floods brought on by torrential rains caused some nervous moments for residents, of course. And then on 2014, several parts of central Trinidad experienced flash flooding due to high consistent rainfall overnight. The rains continued for most of the day. Some of the areas that experienced flash flooding included Chagonas, Waterloo, Bank Village, Freeport, Calcutta, and Couva. And of course, the issue that was blamed for that was the fact that the drains in the districts needed to be desperately cleared of debris. Now, then, on to the 17th of November 2014. Now I'm leading up to something, so just bear with me a moment. November 17, 2014, the Manzanilla Mayaro Road flooded and collapsed due to erosion caused by consistent night rainfall, high tide conditions, and the overflowing of the River swamp. Residents in the area were thus marooned in their homes and villages. The extent of the damage to the road has drawn national attention because of the unusual occurrence. For over a week, the entire coastal front of Manzanilla, which is over 20 kilometers long, was transformed into a lake, with the greatest physical destruction to public infrastructure occurring on the Manzanilla-Mayaro Road. Agriculture in the area was totally lost. 2017. Heavy rainfall triggered flash flooding in various parts of the country, including Port of Spain, El Socorro, Orange Grove, and Barataria. The situation caused a massive traffic gridlock in several areas as people tried to get home. Commuters in Belmont and parts of East Port of Spain told several of the media that they were stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic for hours. There were reports that flood waters crossed the Eastern Main Road in St. Augustine, rendering the roadway impossible. Now we come to 2018, which was basically two days of flooding this week. And of course, I have tonight the two representatives who took part in the local government elections. Felicia, as you know, was a representative for Belmont East, and Christoph was a representative for Barataria. Now, one of the issues that they highlighted greatly was the flooding issues. So I'm going to hand it over to Felicia now for her to give us what are her thoughts with respect to what happened in Belmont in the last 2 days with the flooding.
Thank you, Janice, and
yes.
Good night to the listeners and people who are watching the show. It feels really good to be back on Frontline.
Yes.
For anybody who knows, this was my first, official start behind a camera, so Frontline will always be a home for me. I'm very happy to come back and guest host with you tonight. And also discuss this very pertinent issue that both Christoph and myself experienced firsthand, both when we were campaigning and now after that the elections are over.
Right.
I do remember the Sunday, not the day before elections, the Sunday before that actually we had, that was when we had a lot of rain in Belmont, in Trinidad actually, and Belmont experienced that day some of the worst flooding I've ever seen. I mean, we were parked waiting to go on a walkabout, and my car, I watched the water rise and rise and rise, and I realized, okay, this is turning into a swimming pool, time to move. Had to maneuver my car, go around, drive by my mom's church, which was on an incline, and park. And I got to experience, like I said, in real time, what flooding is like in Belmont East. And I say that because I live on a hill. So I see all the rain, and then I come down after and I see the debris after the water subsided. But I was on Piggott Corner in the heart of the flood and the flooding. And from what I saw, that was not just a litter problem. And I know that's the first thing, number one, when the rains fell this week. Oh gosh, trees, I don't like the litter, and it's so pretty. You know how it goes. And now I'm not disputing the fact that in the floodwaters there was lots of rubbish there, because we all know part two of another problem that Belmont East has. And I say has because the problem clearly still exists based on what we saw on Monday and Tuesday. And as much as you know, like I say, it still exists because you saw in the flood was a lot of garbage, lots of garbage, and in the cleanup effort, because I went that afternoon just to see who needed help with anything. I saw a couple of the local people, the bakery, even the bar got flooded, and the bar is on an incline. They said the water was at least 2 feet high, and like I said, some people said it was the worst that they ever saw. Some said no, they've seen worse. But the point is generations, and I say generations because people who compared it said, no, back in 1980. I'm like, Bert? no, I was like, Bert? We don't come back in 1980. What? We had flooding? Like, okay, and you just read it. I mean, years have passed and passed and passed.
Yes.
And it's either just remaining the same, because some people, say, oh yeah, we have this before. I think those are the apologists, right? The people who want to make excuses for the fact that we still flooding. The people who want to blame the fact that it's littering alone and just refusing to accept that there has been no government who has put the time, the interest, the investment. And let's not talk about that 120 million US dollar loan back in 2030 that has languished away doing nothing. So you ask me, and I'm telling you, it's bad, it's worse, and it was hard for people to get a hit on the Monday and then come back and get hit again on the Tuesday. I mean, I driving home, seeing people sweeping the streets and all of that. It was bothersome for me, because I know a lot of them are homes, of course, and then a lot on the circular there are a lot of small businesses. So the bakery, the bar, the salon, all of these places. It was really devastating to me to have to see and witness the fact that, after all the campaigning and the flyers and the setting and the whining low, Zumba in the corner.
Right.
We still back. We still in floodland, everybody living in the lagoon.
Right, same problem still exists. Alright, well, good night Felicia, good night Janice, good night viewers. So let me start with some disclosure. Although I represented Barataria in the last local government election, I do not live in Barataria. I live in another district just north of it, Febo district. And luckily, just like Felicia, I live on a hill as well. So flood wasn't really an issue for us personally, landslides more than anything. But being so involved with Barataria in this last local government election, like she said, that Sunday when it rained during our campaign, I went out and I met with some of the homeowners, because once you live within the Savo Barataria region, you are aware of which points regularly flood given rain. So I went directly to those, which would be 10th Avenue and 11th Street, coming down to 9th Avenue and 12th Street. Basically, the areas closest to the highway in the Barataria district. So again, I went out to them, assessed some damage, make sure and introduce myself, let them know our policies, that sort of thing. And they all became very aware and know who I am, right? During the campaign. So then Monday came, floods. I decided, you know what, let me go see what's going on in Barataria. Took a drive around, saw exactly the same thing I saw from before, which has been going on for years. So I mean, part of me was trying to justify it like the average citizen. I'm like, okay, she won less than a month now, she was sworn in about 2 or 3 weeks now. How much could she have really done, right? But then the remarks from the residents, they weren't saying that they expected her to have it completed or working by then. What they expected was her presence. To see her there.
So she never turned up at all.
Well, I can't say for sure, but I'm giving you the word from the residents who I interacted with. They were like, listen, I voted for you, because there were a couple of households that I interacted with a lot. They were like, I voted for you, I'm sorry I didn't win. Well, I'm telling you something, I'm seeing you more than I'm seeing the councillor who won. And they were like, and she lives on this street. You don't live within this district.
Did she come out at any point that you saw?
Not during the flooding. I didn't notice any. But again, I don't want to say for a fact that she didn't come out. I'm just saying with the residents that I interacted with. One of the issues they pointed out was that they see my presence and they aren't seeing hers. Right? So, I mean, it was heartbreaking, like I saw you post, to have to watch these people and tell them, listen, there's only so much I could do. I'll refer you to the Disaster Management Unit of the Samlal Regional Corporation. I'll pass on your councillor's number. I'll even talk to her personally and see what I could do as well. But again, it's heartbreaking to know and be there and have these people with their yards flooded, their walls fallen, house flooded, and not be able to even offer them a sandbag, right? And like I said, I also try to maintain some form of a relationship with the councillor who has been elected. Because again, we're all working towards the same goal at the end of the day. And certain information I may have that she doesn't, that she could count on. So I was liaising with her son on a Monday, and one of the issues he highlighted to me was that they reached out to the corporation to get sandbags to help the residents. They had to wait a while for one, and then two, they only got 12 sandbags. For the entire district of Barataria.
12.
12 sandbags. 12. That's not even enough for one household.
I was just about to say, how was it supposed to be spread?
So that was the Monday. I didn't get to speak with them on the Tuesday because when I went back to the floods, I tried reaching out to put the residents onto there and I didn't get through. But my thing is, even if your hands as a councillor is tied based on being in a corporation as majority in another party, what I expect from you as a representative who has been elected is transparency. You need to come out and make sure and highlight the fact that you were there. You know, you showed the people, listen, I was here, whether you saw me or not, I was here. This is what we tried to do. This was my request to corporation. This is what we were provided with. And at least be as transparent to the people to let them know what is going on, as well as you as part of a bigger party now need to use that strength of that party to be protesting issues like this.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here because I'm listening to, what would have been and what you see as what you should have done. And I'm not your fellow candidate.
Right.
I'm the host as well.
Right.
So I'm asking, Baratari is huge. Come on.
Right.
We know it is huge. In a case like that, where it's just you and you were the councillor, what would you have done? Seeing that it's so big,
right,
and it's a lot of area to cover, what would without
what would I have
having to do
done?
the whole stunts of bringing the camera to let people know that you were there?
What would I have done? Again, make sure they feel my presence. When they are in their time of need, they should at least see my face. It's not all 10,000 flooded.
Okay.
It's not all 10,000 facing problem, like I said. It's the people towards the bank around the highway.
Okay.
And again, another issue is, as a councillor, your job is to come and identify not just the problems, but the solution.
You see how that LG trained us well?
Right. to address the problem and the solution, right? So again, during the campaign as well as just between Monday and Tuesday, the issues that they highlighted is one, the drains, which is the residential drains, which fall under local government and the corporation, aren't regularly cleaned. There's a huge backup of silt as you go further south, which is...
Now, I'm going to let you into a little secret because I had to deal with the calling the corporation,
right,
cleaning those very said drains. And when I called and I said, look, there are bottles and there are plastics and especially with the guys who want to wipe your windscreen and so on. When they sit on the grass and they finish their KFC and their drinks, they just drop this, their garbage into the drain. And the first thing that was said to me, we don't deal with this here. You have to call the public health department of the corporation. And I'm going, but why? They said, well, that's what they're supposed to do. And I go, well, public health?
Right.
So then I called, they gave me a number and some names, and I called. And the ladies took the information, and she said, well, okay, we're going to organize to, we're going to take the report and try and see what we can do. So a day later, I called and I said, well, what is the status on this situation? And she says, oh, well, we've decided we're going to be able to do the cleaning early next week. Well, I'm still waiting.
Right.
And so to me, that was like the very first block. Because if I'm calling the corporation to deal with an issue, and you're telling me that you're not dealing with this, I have to call the public health department of the corporation. It's like, well, what does that have to do with cleaning the drains?
Right.
The drains have to be cleaned.
Yeah.
Well, what does the public health have to do with that?
The thing, Janice, you are doing what is the councillor's job. The councillor's job is to represent the needs of the residents of their district in the council, which are the people who make the decision and pass on those decisions to the corporation to have it done.
Yeah.
So you weren't even supposed to be reaching out to the corporation directly. That's what you have a councillor for, to be your voice as well as the voice of your collective district in council and represent your needs. So when you go, Janice, the corporation will watch it as just one person's needs. You're not going to be prioritized. It's why we have a system of a council where this person's voice represents yours and the entire district.
I was talking on behalf of the businesses who were being flooded because the drains were being blocked by the garbage in the drains.
Right, well, that's the councillors and aldermen job, not yours.
Yeah, so you probably have to reach out to the. And that's another thing, a whole lot of bureaucracy just to get anything done. You have to go through. And I agree, I mean, the councillor should be the person that you go through, but the fact that, I mean, clearly it was an urgent request and you couldn't get it
done.
Yeah.
But even, I'm sorry, but I understand about the councillors. But if the councillors themselves are not getting involved with the people in the area and recognizing, because I am sure, I'll be very interested to find where the councillor lives. Because everybody have to drive on the West Moorings Highway. And everybody has to stop at the traffic lights by Super Farm. And a lot of people go to KFC and they buy their chicken and their fries, right? And they also have to go to the pharmacy. So I cannot believe that the council for the area does not pass in front of that drain at least once a day to see the need and the garbage that needs to be cleaned. Why should the residents be the one to have to be drawing this to their attention when they were elected by the residents to be their voice in the corporation?
Well, that's the real issue.
But you know what's interesting too? We had a gentleman come and give us a little insight into the corporation and what it was like to be a councillor and so on. And from what I gather, now you have the corporation meetings and then they have, you have the council meeting. And then the instructions are then passed to the corporation, which is manned by public servants. Correct?
Right.
Yes.
Good. So if the public servants in the corporation don't agree with what the councillors have decided to do, then the right thing, you have a bottleneck because they're just going to stall.
They don't have that decision-making power. They can't decide.
It's not a we don't want to do that or we don't like that. It's a mandate that's passed down.
Yes.
Right. So the
And the
CEO of
very
the corporation.
same person indicated that if the corporation personnel were not in agreement, then they can stall the issue. The only way you can get them to move is by taking them to court.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and we have an opposition with such a strong legal team. When are they going to use this legal flex to stand up on behalf of the citizens? I raised that issue on Facebook today actually, because I watched the UNC protest in front of the Prime Minister's office today in yellow saris, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, as much as I condone the skip that they call a skip from Sunday, what upset me more was seeing the UNC using their power to move people to address an issue like that, while in their districts, people are still suffering and need their councillors to be there.
Today was a PR stunt, come on, let's be honest.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's upsetting to know.
PR stunt, and it's upsetting because Christoph, you like me, are seeing the needs of the people being bypass, and I say bypass because there are so many other things that we could have all united as citizens in front of the Prime Minister's office other than this incident. I was outraged by it, and I say outraged because whether they were depicting what they said, because I wanted to ask that question.
They say it was the transformation of that area from UNC
to PNM. Whether that was it or not, there was nobody, and when I say nobody, when it was some commercials, you ever saw the blooper ones and people ask the question, who or what
approved
in that executive approved this to be run as a national ad?
Right.
There are some people who are supposed to be gatekeepers and barricades to these kind of things happening. So the fact that nobody, absolutely nobody saw an issue with that is what is even more alarming to me, because who are the people that make up the PNM? I was so glad to see people like Paula, who speak out, and a couple other people who are deep within the PNM. But I mean, anybody with common sense could see that it was clearly not. And I know we're going
just inappropriate
here, but it was just completely inappropriate. And as we were saying before the show started, so many things happened this week to to discuss on the show, even though we're discussing flooding. But I swear they all seem to kind of feed into each other.
Yeah, they all intertwine. They all
because we were
intertwine.
saying that, you know, this was calm. Some people said the flooding was calmer
For the thing on
for what
Sunday,
happened.
right?
Some people also said that the sitting minister getting kicked with flood water was his karma as well. And I know we're talking to counselors here, so Janice, are we getting into that topic? Because I know some people want to have it discussed. I don't mind discussing it. So very much don't mind discussing it.
I don't have a problem discussing it because I think it's important that there is some discussion on it because it also dovetails into the whole idea of, you know, people being elected and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is to serve the people.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't have recall, because I am quite sure that if we had recall, instead of splashing Mr. Hines,
They would have replaced him.
they would have exactly.
Exactly, but they don't have any method to change what they are dissatisfied with.
But Janice, what do you and Christoph, what do you all think about the people who say they had a chance? And every 5 years they have a chance and they go back and vote for the PNM and USC. They say it, they said Belmont East and Barrett both had their chance.
Right.
Two places that flood
Right.
had their chance. You sent me the article the week after election or 2 weeks after election where the people were complaining and saying
that Belmont is flooding.
That Belmont is flooding and garbage is still an issue.
Right.
You sent me the article, so I mean, knowing all of this and knowing that they did have an opportunity, can we really say that, you know, they have no choice?
I have a choice.
I would say given the political situation around elections, having witnessed it firsthand, people don't feel as though they have a choice. Because again, we've been through both administrations that they have as options now, right? And they've seen and have realized that they are dissatisfied with both options. But again, up until this election, they didn't have another option.
Yes.
Right? So again, what the parties did was capitalize on small markets that they could work and make the fight between those two small markets as opposed to the bigger population. Even Barrett's area with such a great election turnout compared to the other districts is 19% of the electorate put their councillor in place.
Right.
That is not democracy as far as I'm concerned.
That shouldn't, it's not even constitutional.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's all about the majority according to our laws right now. But to me, that should be rectified because, again, that's not proper representation. 19% of the people put somebody in power that doesn't represent the majority. And like I said, so for the rest now who don't vote for either parties, which actually make up the majority, they feel voiceless. They feel as though they don't have an option.
Well, you know, I tend to disagree, and I think that you know, we keep making this excuse that people are jaded, that people feel hopeless, that people you know, they don't feel as though they have a choice. But come on, we are human beings. We have the power of choice. True. We have the power to change whatever we want to change. It's just that we are just too lazy to do something about it. We have the power to vote for who we want. It is so simple, but people just have gotten lazy and they just don't seem to want to be, they don't have the will to get up and say, you know what? I'm going out there to vote and I'm going to make a change today.
Janice,
yes.
Sorry to cut you, but there was something that I realized well, not realized because I always knew it, but something just became more prominent for me this week, particularly with all the drama that we had going on from Sari. I swear it was just like down the road for like day after day after day. We had Sari gates, then we had flood gates, then we had CXC gates, then we had
Wet Minister Gate.
Minister Gate.
Wet Minister Gate.
Wet Minister gates, and it was like after the other. And I swear today, like it's only Thursday, but I feel like we have had 2 weeks in one. Like as a Trinbagonian, I am on an emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Because it's like, what is going to happen
next
on Friday?
On Friday, right?
Today was what protest gates.
Yeah.
It's been a lot, but a common thread in all the kicks, a common thread that I noticed is that we have citizens who are really just conditioned to just take licks. And when I say take licks, I'm not talking about physical beating,
mental abuse, mental.
Yes,
it's all mental.
but because we had all of these situations arising, I got to hear a lot of the, and not experience, but I got to see a lot of the, well, just how people think.
Right.
So let's start from Sarigate.
Alright.
And, you know, we had the people who said, no, and, you know, it was just all in fun and blah, blah, blah. That one, not so much. I didn't see it that much. But then we started with CXC Gate, which was bright and early Monday morning,
right.
I believe. And the amount of people, and I did my own live that night because I was so disappointed by people who I call my own peers, who turned the situation away from the government. And I get when people say we can't depend on the government for everything. I believe that definitely some people definitely need to learn
to stand on
their own 2 feet.
Right.
But there's also a very serious issue that is festering right now in Trinidad and Tobago. When people say don't depend on the government, that doesn't mean that somebody is going to wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I live on the Beetham, or I live Laventille, or I live Scorpion, or I live Bayard, and I have no hope and opportunity, but you know what, I'm going to make it happen. We have people who will do that and push and fight and sell and do this and hustle and make it.
Right.
But let's face it, the reality of what is festering in Trinidad is that everything is broken. And the only way that can be fixed is if a government actually does some serious intervention. There are people who want better, you know. There are people who want better. So for people to say things like...
Yes, but you see, I get it. But when they have the opportunity to make that change, they just don't do it. They go and they stay in their homes, or they go to work and they do not go and they do not vote. They do not take the opportunity that is presented to them on a platter and say, this is my opportunity to make that change.
We could say that though, but then isn't that like the chicken and the egg situation? A lot of the people that I encountered on my walkabout in Learmond East, and now I'm sounding like a non-voter apologist, but no, a lot of the people have been like, they literally don't believe there is a democracy. They don't believe, and I just like you feel frustrated because I'm like, you know, if all 3,120 something of yours decided to think the opposite way, which was that my vote actually matters, you know, we could actually see a difference in this country, right? Now, of course, you know, we would say we were fighting against time and the fact that people didn't know us, but I still believe that people, those who did, they should have, in my opinion, made a greater attempt at changing the status quo. Some people say, you know, 52 votes for Felicia is a good start. I mean, it's a good start, but I agree with you. But I also understand that some people need a different kind of conditioning because they don't believe that even if a PDP government come in, that anything will be different. And you know who they are? Those are the 76% who just did not bother.
Yes, but, and I come back again, you have had X amount of years under the PNM government. You have had X amount of years under the UNC. They have done hardly anything to make a difference in the lives of people. Here comes along a new party with good representation, good policies. The least people can do is to say, you know what? I will give them a try. Because at the end of the day, what do I have to lose?
How do we go about convincing them that it's worth the try? Because
well,
they
spent
56 years of trying,
exactly.
changing, and seeing what came
Janice,
from trying
that's
to
the
change.
thing. That's what I was pointing to. A lot of people, they are conditioned to believe that
it will never change.
One, it will never change, and then there are the people who for some reason think that the running of Trinidad lies on some invisible ghost's shoulders. Because when I hear people say things like, it's not the government to solve flooding, my question is who?
Right.
Then who is supposed to do it?
That's
Are
what
we
created
supposed to
government
band
systems
together
for.
like private citizens, pitching $100 each and build a dam? Are we supposed to call foreign expertise, call the ambassador to Holland or to anywhere else that they have solved flooding? Are we supposed to make that intervention? Because you know what? Even if we decide to stop littering, and even if we decided to take an interest in what is happening, we can't as private citizens pick up and fix flooding. It is the government's responsibility. At the end of the day, it all lies and starts and ends with the government. We as citizens, yes, we have a part to play in it. We need to not throw fridge in the river. We should not be quarrying illegally and doing all of this nonsense, building houses and places without permits and all.
Right.
I agree. But at the end of the day, the government are the ones who are supposed to intervene on behalf of the citizens and solve the issues of flooding.
And deal with it.
And that is why, and I have to go back to that minister who was kicked with flood water, because no, I see it absolutely, I do not agree. I don't agree with kicking anybody with flood water. Did I laugh? I did. I'm being honest. I did. There are many things that Trinidad experiences and people say, it's not funny, and I agree, but the difference between me laughing is that I can admit and acknowledge the serious aspect of it, which is that nobody, and I said it this week in a Saturday, even the most loyal dog will bite the owner that neglects to feed him.
That's
when
true.
you feel, and this is where I tell people exhibit compassion, and I know I'm all talking here, but when you feel that hunger in your stomach, you're not studying let's be respectful. You studying the fact that I ain't seen my minister in how much ever years, and you come in here with your tall boots and your fancy tie and your long sleeve.
Two hands swinging.
Right.
Two hands swinging to tell me what? My house is right now
But two, three cameramen.
Right now my
But no
house
sandbars.
is literally, and that's what I saw first in the street. I saw the flood water, and I saw the fact that these people are literally standing in this flood water.
Yeah.
Their homes are flooded out. What is he honestly coming to say? What was he coming to do?
And I think too that it happened to them twice. It's twice in the week that they had the flood in that area, because one woman was talking about the fact that she had just finished cleaning her furniture, and here it is now, the furniture was wet again.
And this is why I say we need to go to the root cause, because you know what? Had the residents been dignified and greeted him with respect and shook his hands and said, thank you for coming out here and seeing about the people and all of that, and he left. And he came back again the day after that, it flood again. And he comes back next week when the rains that we're expecting to come comes again. What then? Because they have been experiencing this for so long. How else do you get the attention of the people who are supposed to be taking care of you? I like I said, I don't agree with kicking them with flood water, but
how else?
I saw that act as a desperate act of, you know what, if nothing else get your attention,
this will, exactly.
I saw the spite in it too. I know there was being
right.
Again, I have not experienced what these residents have experienced. I am not standing 2 feet high in flood water
in your
with
home.
children in the next room. School starting in 2 weeks. All of your things you have to go and replace. I'm not living what they are living.
Right.
And
But we sympathize with their frustration.
I
Exactly.
do empathize. I
It's the
cannot
same
imagine
as
what
I
this is like to have to go through that. When I see cars floating in flood water covering their bottom, I get literally sick, because I think of my little car that I fight up to save and buy, and I can't imagine what it would be like to have to go through that as a car owner. And I mean, yes, material possession, but that's not something anybody want to go through, and you can't say just litter, because 10 minutes of rain in Port of Spain. But anyway, I talk a lot, y'all.
And as we're talking about that whole wet minister situation, my view on it is, we protested as a party 3 times so far in front of Parliament, right? We didn't even get a newspaper article or 6 seconds in the news after, right? They came, they interviewed, but nothing was published. You're the PR, correct, right? This guy comes and kicks the same water that he has to live in, thanks to these people failing to do their jobs. This is the water I have to live in now, like if I live in a lagoon. So for me to throw some of that water on you is me trying to let you feel with my pain. The same water that you scorning so much and breaking your ego is what I live in.
Yep.
You understand? So So you're watching this, Trinidad is watching this and saying that's so disrespectful. And I agree, it's not the diplomatic way to handle the situation. We went about it, we got nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, we did what we were supposed to do, we got the permissions, we did everything, we got nowhere. These guys did what they had to do to express their dissatisfaction, and they got the message across pretty damn clear to the whole country and to the government.
Yeah.
So I have to give them kudos for that. I mean, right before I came here, my own cousin was like, yo, all these posts you're posting about Heinz, I didn't really like it. I said, you don't have to like it, but you have to sympathize with what the people going through. I said Tuesday when I was up to my, because I had a tall boots reaching 3/4 way up my leg, and the water still overflowing into my boots.
Yeah.
This is what people living in.
Yes.
I want to read a comment from one of the viewers of the show, Carlton Mahadi. Oh, good night. Yes, I know you were surprised that I'm going to read your comment, but I thought it made so much sense. As much as one should not depend on the government, people have to understand the role of the government is to facilitate and encourage a happy lifestyle for all citizens. And I love that. He goes on to say some more, but just that first line alone, beautiful, because I asked this week, can anybody tell me what's the role of our government?
Right.
And for the most part, there was a lot of,
Nonsense
sarcasm,
answers.
because the truth is, based on what we know
Right.
as government, clearly it's just to, screw us over as many times as they can. But the reality, the role of the government is to take care of its citizens. I ask people, why do we pay taxes? I saw somebody complain, them Beaton residents shouldn't be protesting, so protest when you're paying nearly a quarter or a third of your salary in PAYE. And I'm like, you don't even realize it, but you're making the point for the people who are saying that they sympathize with the residents.
Right.
We are paying all of this money, you as a citizen, and that's why I don't understand that. The middle class who pay the most taxes should be the most
Outraged, exactly. Exactly.
You are paying a third of your salary or half in PAYE. You're paying taxes. You're doing everything by law, above board. You're lining up in licensing office when the photographer not there, coming back the next day.
Right.
Everything you're doing the right way.
Right.
You're paying, you're being a good citizen, and you're not getting
Service.
results.
Right. You're not getting any service.
Why aren't you more angry? And you know what? If you can't understand the victim residents, then I guess you can't understand it, but maybe, somewhere you missed a lesson and being able to put yourself in another person's shoes, because somebody want to preach to me this week about, you can rise out of your circumstances. Like, you speak from a point of privilege. You speak from the point of somebody
who didn't have to do it.
Who was able to migrate, get a very good education, unlike a lot of people down here who come SEA exam, you don't pass for the school that can give you the level of education that you need, and you're already disadvantaged from a point of your family can't afford it, you come from an abusive situation, you're doomed. And that is what I struggle to understand with my fellow Trinidadians, that we are so incapable of just trying to understand the other persons. You don't have to condone everything.
I think that resulted from the economic pressure that Trinidad has been under for a while, because it literally forces you as a citizen to fend for yourself. You don't have room to empathize with others. You don't, because when you do, you're in the same problem too.
Yeah, and somebody, a guy, he told me, a friend I made on the campaign trail, he said, I asked him, wouldn't you like a country that works like this? And I started to explain the way a progressive empowerment party would like the country to work. And what was his comment to me? He said, but if the drains, because I want to bring it back to flooding, because I said, imagine if our waterways were dredged, and imagine if we can install proper retention dams and all of these things. Yeah, but if we clean the drains, then what kind of, who we wouldn't get any work? Basically, their job is to come after the floods and clean up. Right. Because that is what they know. That is how life. Yeah, well, that's how the country is set up. It's set up for. And when people ask, why hasn't flooding been solved? Because it's never been in the best interest of the government. And listen to what I say, the government. Because it's not them who stand up in 2 feet of flood water. It's not them. It's us who doing it. And it's never been in their interest to solve the issue for us. Because that's when they could deploy contractors and you know,
and get the corruption.
That's how corruption is run.
Right.
And the people who benefit from it, that's all they know. They don't know about, okay, my job is to clean the waterways every X. They know, okay, let us get around bad and then things flood and we can get a job to come and clean beside it. And it's a lot to break through in terms of getting Trinbagonians to understand that things can be done differently. But it has to be done differently because, geez, like, I am panicking for the rain to come next week. Is it next week or this weekend?
Is it tomorrow? From
it's
tomorrow and Saturday?
And when I say panicking, not because I'm not
living and easy to know what
because
has to
I'm
come.
a commuter, I have to drive. There was a day this week when all the flood happened, I had to go and stay by a friend, and because the savannah was flooded, and it's like.
I think the other thing that needs to be looked at as well is getting the various departments to do their job. Because if we had, for instance, you know, a department that would deal with the developers who build illegally and do not get the proper permissions, or do not make sure that the drainage is done properly.
But Janice, we have those things.
We have them,
it's not being,
but the work is not being done.
Exactly. It's not.
And again, there's so much different checkpoints, Janice. So when I went out Tuesday in Aranguez, which is a whole separate district, again, still falls under Salvador area, but when I went and checked it out, the farmers there were pointing out to me exactly what were the causes of the flood of their lands with their crops. Two problems alone. The drains have a buildup of silt as you go further down.
They need to be judged.
As well as which would fall under corporation if it is a residential drain.
Correct.
I wasn't sure if that road itself is under Ministry of Works because you know some drains is Ministry of Works, some is corporation. But the drain needs to be dredged, as well as one resident built a house and built a bridge to his home, and the pipe that the drain bottlenecks through is too small for the volume of water coming through. Right. So again, that would fall on town and country, whereas the cleaning of the drains fall on either corporation or Ministry of Works. So what I'm saying, there are so many different checkpoints and so many different problems that all the systems are failing.
But okay, so the farmers have pointed this out to you.
Right.
Good. Have they made a complaint to the local government?
Well, so that was my first question to him. I asked him, so have you spoken to your councillor? I was like, your councillor's name is Amit Suknanan, your councillor for Aranguez Warner Village. Have you reached out to him? His answer was, Amit Suknanan, we just call him Balki soon. He ran away with the man's wife. I mean, it's a joke because he was actually in the music video for Balki soon, and he is a chutney singer. But my thing is, if the farmers know who you are and don't feel empowered to be able to reach out to you to find solutions to their problems, even having addressed the problem and solution, they don't feel any faith to bring that to you. That is an issue.
They don't have a level of respect.
It's not respect, they have no faith that you will get the job done.
Well, that also borders on respect because again, and let's come back to the minister who got kicked with the water. If someone, to me, when I looked at it, it meant that the people had lost all respect for him. And if I am a minister and I get that kind of a treatment and I recognize that the level of respect that I had expected from the residents is no longer there, then it's time for me to pack up and go home.
Oh, and that would have been an aha moment. I would have personally gone home after I washed my hair and bathed and
sit down and ask yourself
for
why,
like
right?
3 different baths. I would have gone home and sat by myself on my bed thinking, Father, where have I failed? No, seriously, where have I failed? And again, I guess that is just me and people like us, people who have compassion, because I would want to know, what did I do to deserve to be kicked by my own residents with flood water? And when I say kicked, they ran the man out of the street. I heard somebody go, run, Hines, run. And I'm like, listen, you would never think that those are the same people who voted for this man how much years ago. I don't think those are the same people though. I think I wanted to read a comment from Jenny. People are so brainwashed by these two administrations that they don't believe that they deserve better. they are happy watching them live their high lifestyle and think they deserve that. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. It's very true statement.
Did you see when he was interviewed, or the reporter tried to interview him at the police station? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was a bit flabbergasted.
I
because
wanted to do an impression. What is that? Do not assume.
Yeah.
One should not assume.
And then when he asks the question, he get answer.
But what is the statement that I am a citizen of this country? What does that mean? What does that have to do with the fact
I
that
guess
you have
it
gone to a
meant
police
that
station?
he has rights to not. He doesn't have to answer to just.
But no.
But he came across very condescending, very like he was above even answering or speaking to this man. Like, you know, he dismissed him when people were dry. You can tell when somebody's not interested in talking to you. Like, that's what girls do when they don't want to talk to a friend. When a car passing by, any kind of distraction comes across, they're like, and then and they find a way to make an exit. And that is exactly what he did. He was clearly not interested. And I don't think the fellow was being any kind of way. I think, how could we forget that police station gates? That was no, because he was so. It was I watched that video on repeat last night while I slept. It was just so. You know, if he had,
but if he had dealt with it properly, at least there would have been some semblance of trying to get back some level of respect. And people watching him would have felt some sort of empathy for him.
Exactly.
But with that kind of behavior,
I felt for
some people like kick him again, and again, I do not condone kicking anybody with anything, be it flood water,
clean
water, pee, because I heard people say true. Listen, I do not condone it at all. And while I laughed, I did understand that yes, it was a level of disrespect, but we also went down that rabbit hole and explained why and what does it take for people to reach that level of disrespect. So,
and that should send them a clear message.
But the way he responded, it was like, come on, dude, this was your moment here. This was the moment that the people were looking at you, and they were looking at you to say, you know what, this man who.
You should have just said, I'm going to be the bigger man, I'm going to go and reach back out to these people and see why they're so frustrated.
Thank you.
Give a nice politically correct answer.
I would have gone the next day. I am being so honest. I would have shown them, you know what, as much as you think that I am not worthy of your time and your attention, I am back. You know why? Because even though you kick me with flood water, I want to be here for you. That's what the fella does do when the girl kick him out. When she say, baby, I fed up, you cheat on my tired, and she kick him out, and he comes back, he keeps coming back.
And plenty of time they do it because they want you to come back, you know, but look at what he gave them.
I am like, somebody needs to teach this man how to swoon somebody.
I think that's you because it's like, alright, they run you, come back and try and win them over because they stuck in your house. Yeah, he made a police report. And I trying to figure out what the charge is, water assault, right?
Well, it has to be, and two, how they collecting the evidence?
Well, again, video don't work as evidence in court.
And that's what I was saying. They're going to use it to identify the fellas. Okay, but where is the evidence? He washed it up when he went home.
Right. All I was saying is a water assault.
Because this is not a funny experience.
And well, just to touch back on that Sari gate one that I thought about today, or the protest gate or whatever you call it. It was the first thing I woke up to, a live video with one of the members, because again I have a lot of friends, a lot of associates who align themselves with the UNC, and I have no issue with that. That's their political right. So I saw the live, I was in the middle of the live, so I messaged and I was like, so where is this? Because I'm just seeing protesters in yellow saris. The guy responded on the video, he was like, we're in front of the Prime Minister's office, I'd love to see you here, Christoph, right? So I responded one time, I was like, listen, I was in Barataria a couple of days ago. I'm seeing the Barataria councillor as well as many other councillors and MPs there in front of the Prime Minister's office, Khadija, Mean, and the list goes on with UNC. Office holders in front of the Prime Minister's office protested, demanding an apology over Sunday, right? While their residents in their districts and their constituencies in stress and up to the doors in water, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, I messaged back, I commented back, and I was like, listen, if it was that your same UNC councillors and MPs who are there were there protesting that their corporation is not providing them with the necessary things and they're being spiteful or whatever, a real issue that represents the interests of the population in need.
Right.
If it was that, I'd come there and hold both of their hands and protest with you.
Yeah.
Because I will fight for the people's needs too. I see the need why they need sandbags. I will hold your hand and do it with you. But I'm not going to stand up and watch people whose job it is to be fighting for that, taking time off from their work time to be there protesting something that does not directly impact or doesn't fall under their job portfolio.
Well, Janice,
Yes.
and Christoph, I'm seeing that we have 3 minutes left. And I do want to shout out one of our viewers, Gabriel Dante. No, darling, this is not a comedy fest, but we do know how to insert some liveliness into our life. You might want to go back a little bit and see where we touched on the serious parts, but trust me, we did touch on some. But I hope you enjoyed the little fun and lighter moments of the show tonight, because I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and as Trinidadians, we need to remember to keep some kind of humor and some kind of lightheartedness, because doing what we do, Felicia, it'll drive us mad.
And even when I saw, and I said to the people who did not understand the seriousness behind the essay thing, there were some of those memes that I saw and I laughed at. I'm a Trinbagonian. Come on, we make jokes out of everything.
We're genius.
But again, it's being able to know when the joke stops and to get serious, and that is what this party is about. We can joke, we laugh. Our meetings, Janice can tell you,
it's the funniest things ever.
we talk about in our meetings, but then still leave knowing that we have a plan and a way forward.
Exactly.
Keep things light, work hard, play hard. Alright,
Correct.
my lady, let's wrap up.
Okay, so as we come to a close of our segment, I would like to invite members to tell your friends and family about our regular meetings, employee screening for job seekers, and housing initiatives. Every Saturday from noon at 19 Stanmore Avenue, Port of Spain. Come and add your voice to the frank and open discussion and express your opinion. Executives of the party will be there to answer any questions you may have. Don't forget that you can become a volunteer and can serve on any of our committees or teams that include the National Executive, Constituency Executive, Constituency Representative, Youth Arm, Gender Arm, Events Committee.
Let them know this Saturday at 10 this Saturday. If you want to join any of those committees, come down at 10 this Saturday.
Come at 10,
Add your name to the convo.
Yes. And you will ask yourself, so why do I want to volunteer? We believe that citizens should have a right in how they are governed. So we invite persons to volunteer to serve within our organization and help advance the mission and the vision of the Progressive Empowerment Party. One people under one flag. The Progressive Empowerment Party is a volunteer organization that depends solely on the contributions from our members to keep us funded. Our goal is to contest the next general elections, which will require significant funding. The PEP is guided by principles of transparency and accountability, and we assure you that your generosity will be used solely for the advancement of the organization as we work our way towards a better Trinidad and Tobago. The Progressive Empowerment Party will be working for you and to ensure that no citizen is left behind. So become a financial member. So this Saturday, as Felicia says, we are having our regular PEP meetings, which are held at 19 Stanmore Avenue, Port of Spain. And if you would like to volunteer, come for 10 o'clock, because that will be the time we'll be holding those sessions. And we will also be talking about our policies, our solutions to issues plaguing Trinidad and Tobago, providing you, the public, with information. You see, that's one of the things we wanted to, we as a party are trying also to do to help in terms of waking up people from the jaded matrix environment. It's a matter of educating you, letting you know what's going on, giving you history as to what is really going on as well, and also the deal of how we are going to come across with our solutions. We want to acknowledge all our members and thank all of our viewers. To those of you who are on the roads, please be safe Good night.
Good night, viewers.
Good night.